It's recording? Okay, perfect. So quorum being present, time being 5:03, I will call the meeting of the Freetown Conservation Commission to order. Before we start, I must read the governor's order. So pursuant to Governor Baker, March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law, General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 18, and the governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people who may gather in one place. This meeting of the Freetown Conservation Commission will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public can be found on the Town of Freetown website, freetownma.gov. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will post on the town's website or YouTube channel an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. Okay, so we have a quorum, and I see that we have item number 3. I'd like to use the chairman's prerogative to take the agenda out of order so that Mr. Sullivan, while he'll have to recuse himself from this, it's a septic application for his house. So thank you, Charlie, for improving your septic system, but we don't need you for this one. You're going to have to sit out. So that being said, we'll take care of that first, and then we'll get you back into the meeting, Charlie. So you are going to recuse yourself from this conversation. Is that correct, Charlie?
I am.
Excellent. Perfect. So let the minutes reflect that Mr. Sullivan is recusing himself from any and all portions of this conversation. So that being said, this is a request for determination of applicability. It is not a public hearing. So typically we don't take public comment unless there's something that we may have a question on or situation arises. So for those that are interested parties to anything that's on the meeting tonight, you may go to our town website, freetownma.gov, go to the Conservation Commission. It says boards and committees. Go to Conservation Commission, and you will see it is located on the left-hand side. It says Conservation Commission current filings. If you click on that, there are all the plans and RDAs that we're going to be talking about tonight will be on there. So for this one, it's 46 High Street. Do we have the applicant's representative here tonight? Huh. Well, this is interesting. Charlie, do you know if Niles was coming?
Oh, Mr. Chairman, sorry, I was muted.
Oh, hi, Niles.
Sorry about that.
No worries, my friend. So this is 46 High Street, if you would, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. For the record, Niles Zager from Zenith, here before you for a septic repair at 46 High Street. So basically what we have is a very large tract land. It's about 18 acres. Unfortunately, there's a lot of wetlands, and where the well is situated on the property has kind of forced us to where the septic system is proposed. It's proposed behind the existing house. Basically, we were able to get it over the septic system over 50 feet from the BVW. However, because of that 100-foot setback to the well, we were forced into the 100-foot buffer, and basically we're being dictated by that well. We were able to get it to work gravity, so there's no pump systems or anything like that. And basically we're looking to put in a new 1,500 gallon septic tank and 35 infiltrated quick 4+ chambers in a field configuration, doing very minimal grading. Very little vegetation is being taken down. There's actually only there's only 1 to 2 trees that are going to come down. But the remainder of the work is all within an existing lawn area. So there's very minimal work. We are proposing a silt sock at the down gradient side of it to protect from any erosion that may occur down to the wetland. That's really about it. It's pretty straightforward. Obviously, all the areas will be stabilized and loamed and seeded once work is complete. And I think that's it. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Has the applicant been difficult to work with?
Never.
That was a joke, Niles.
I know that was. I'm still
I
not.
should say, has the client been difficult to work with? No, I appreciate all the efforts. It is kind of tight over there. You're kind of jammed up, and I might have missed it, Niles. The existing septic system. What are we doing with that?
So that's actually it's basically right where the new system.
I see it's going to be removed. I see
That's
that.
correct. It's going to be completely removed as part of this construction.
Okay, so this is a new tank, new D-box, new field, all brandy new.
Yes, sir.
All right. You got your siltation control. Again, these are typically less than a week events, right? I mean, from start to finish.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So, yeah. All right. Anybody from the board have any questions, comments, or concerns?
I do not.
All right, perfect. That being said, this is an RDA, so I will entertain a motion that we issue a negative determination number 3, that while it is in an area in a buffer zone to an area subject to protection of the act, it will not dredge, alter, or fill a resource area. So
I will make that motion. I will make it.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. I need a second. Is Chris with us? Yes.
Chris is here, yeah.
Is he muted?
Yes, he's muted.
Can we unmute him? Or does he have to do it himself? *6.
All right, *6. There we go. I was wondering why no one was acknowledging me. I made some funny comments and everything. Jeez. Yes, I will second that motion.
Thank you. Okay, motion made, supported. There's no further discussion on the motion. Roll call vote. I will start with Charlie Sullivan. He is abstaining and he's recused himself. Again, let the minutes reflect that. So Keith Mello.
Aye.
Keith Mello, aye. Chris Mather.
Aye.
Chris Mather, aye. Kevin Damaris, aye. Motion passes. So on to our next event, if you will.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Sorry about that, Niles. I'm trying to do 3 things at once here, so I apologize. Niles, we'll get that stuff stamped and signed, and we'll get it off to you, or the applicant can come down and pick it up.
Much appreciated. Have a great night.
Yeah, you too now. So, Charlie, you are going to rejoin the Conservation Commission.
I am.
All right, perfect. So, I'm just trying to find
Kevin,
the next
quick
thing.
question.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Can I interrupt? With that said, I am actually in the middle of something. If I can disengage from the meeting without interfering with the quorum, that would be great. If not, I'll stay on the line.
No, if you need to go, Chris, I can appreciate that. We've all got our little things that we have to do.
Okay, I'm around.
Yours
if you need me, if
is
something comes up.
work. Yeah. We should be all right going forward.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
You too now. Yeah. So, Victoria, next on our agenda, we have, you know what? I'm going to take care of the continued notice of intent right now. So I will call back to order notice of number 9. This is a continued notice of intent for 0 Rear Simmons Street in Assonet. This was an application to construct a large-scale solar project. They have asked for a continuation to what date, please, Victoria?
May 10th.
May 10th?
Yes.
Okay. So if there's anybody here for that, we will not be talking about that. If you have a general question, I guess I can, procedurally, I can answer it now. But if not, the applicant and all is not here, so we will discuss it at our next meeting. The same thing, I'm going to call back to order a continued notice of intent for 23 through 25 Gurney Road. That is, again, the applicant has asked for a continuation till May 10th. And likewise, I have a notice of intent for 32 Middleborough Road. This, again, is for the construction of a solar array. They have asked for a continuation to May 10th. Is that correct? Yes?
Yeah.
Thank you. Did I just call that one back to order? If not, I'm calling that one back to order too. So unless there's anybody here that has a general question about, how we're proceeding with these, if not, I'll entertain a motion that we continue items 7, 9, and 10, and I will repeat those. That is a notice of intent for 32 Middleborough Road, a notice of intent for 0 Rear Simmons Street, and notice of intent for 23 through 25 Gurney Road. I'll entertain a motion that we continue those public hearings to May 10th, 5 o'clock via Zoom.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
And I'll
Thank you.
second it.
Thank you. Motion's being supported. If there's no further discussion, roll call vote. Charlie Sullivan.
Aye.
Charlie Sullivan, aye. Keith Mello.
Yes.
Keith Mello, aye. And Kevin, yes is fine. Keith Mello, yes. And Kevin Damaris, aye. Motion passes unanimously. All three of those have been continued to the May 10th meeting. Okay, back to the top of the order, folks. We have a request for determination of applicability. This is for the Freetown Fall River State Forest. The applicant is Department of Conservation and Recreation, otherwise known as DCR. The representative is SWCA Environmental Consultants, and the scope of work is new off-highway motorcycle OHM trail, so dirt bike trails. We have the applicant's representatives here.
This is Paul Jange from DCR. I'm Director of Trails and Greenways, and I'm here on behalf of the applicant. I'm also here with Jess Kelly from SWCA, who's been helping us out on this project.
Hello,
Well,
everyone.
thank you folks for joining us. Again, this is a request for determination. This is not a public hearing. So, but it is quite a lot of information you provided us with.
Yes. So, and I do have a presentation that I can share if you'd like for the commission members.
Yeah, yes, that's fine. If you'd like to do that, again, keeping in mind it's an RDA and we do have a busy schedule tonight. So if you want to make a presentation to outline what you're doing and stuff, that's perfectly acceptable.
I will. Thanks very much. I will try to go through it fairly quickly, and I've just shared my screen, so hope you can share this.
Excellent. Yeah, Victoria, can you give him the ability to screen share, just so you understand? Not all of us are in a screen share kind of deal. So if you start getting to plan sets and you want to just speak to which either the title or the sheet number, that would be helpful too.
Okay, thanks. So I have shared my screen for those who can see it, but the first picture here is just an image of our DCR trail map. The line in orange shows the existing off-highway motorcycle trail. The line in blue shows the proposed reroute that we're talking about tonight. The second, let's see if I can do it here. The second is just a GIS map of the reroute itself. And it is almost a mile reroute. The purpose of the reroute is to get the current off-highway motorcycle trail off of Upper Ledge Road and off of a section of trail that's what we call a fall line section. It goes straight up the slope and it's steep and quite eroded. So to create a new section of trail, and there is one section there that is shown on the plan that goes through the 100-foot buffer of a wetland. So that's why we're here with the RDA tonight. I'm showing a photograph of the existing trail up the steep slope. You can see how eroded that is. And again, the point is to close that off and to have a reroute that's more sustainable on cross slopes through the forest, and also to get off of Upper Ledge Road. This is one photograph of the woodland that we'll be going through. So the scope of work for the trail will be cutting the vegetation, but there will not be excavation to create the trail. So it'll be a 3-foot wide trail. The clearing width will be about 5 or 6 feet of vegetation to open that up. I'm showing a picture of the the area that's within buffer, this is also a fairly rocky area. So what we will be doing here is actually constructing what we call a puncheon, a small wooden boardwalk to cross this area. So we will be protecting soils within the buffer zone area and also, you know, providing a better experience so we're not riding through rocks here and widening. The proposal also calls for closing some of the existing unauthorized trails in that area. So we'll be naturalizing those. And this is an effort to keep the legal riders on the legal trail system and to prevent illegal access from coming into the forest and from riding on unauthorized trails. And here's just a picture of an example of what I called a puncheon, a small boardwalk to ride across. And I think we'll also be doing some signage installation, but I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, so I've had the good fortune of already having met you folks. I think we did a Zoom already once together just to go over how you wanted to file with this. So I've had an understanding of what you're proposing for a while now. But in a nutshell, for our purposes, Conservation Commission and our authority, the reason why you're filing is you've got some trail work. And if I remember correctly, not all that much, but that is what's within the 100-foot buffer zone. Is that
That's
correct?
correct. That's correct. There's a section of trail that goes through the 100-foot buffer zone of a delineated wetland. We're not able to move it outside of the 100-foot buffer zone because of our property boundary is adjacent to it as well.
Right, but there's no wetland crossings. We're not doing anything like that. This is strictly, it's to mitigate a problem. If I remember correctly, right? You said there's some erosion issues, there's some illegal trail usage being done, and this is to help mitigate that, right?
That's correct.
Perfect.
We will be closing off some unauthorized trails, and the section of trail that we are rerouting around getting off of is a poor alignment right now, and so we will be closing that and naturalizing that. And again, jurisdictionally, the work, it's a short section within the 100-foot buffer zone, and we will actually be building a boardwalk so that we will be protecting the soils within the buffer zone.
Okay, perfect. Pretty innocuous what you're doing, right? We're not even bringing in machines.
This is all hand crew.
Right. We're not changing grade or slopes. We're not creating a runoff issue. I think I think you have the ability to control sediment over there, correct? You've made provisions for that should you have an issue.
That's correct. We will install erosion control if there's an issue.
Okay. All right. Anybody from the board have any questions or comments or concerns?
I'm all set.
All right. Perfect. That being said, again, this is an RDA, so I will entertain a motion to issue a negative determination number 3. Right, that is what you guys are looking for, right? It's a number 3. You're in the buffer zone, but you're not going to do anything to dredge, alter, or fill the wetlands, correct?
That's correct. We're asking
All
for.
right, then we will entertain a motion to issue a negative determination number 3.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you very much. I need a second.
I'll second the motion.
Motion's been made and supported. If there's no further discussion on the motion, roll call vote. Charlie Sullivan.
Aye.
Charlie Sullivan, aye. Keith Mello.
Aye.
Keith Mello, aye. Kevin Damaris, aye. Motion passes unanimously.
Appreciate
All
the
right.
commission's time on this. Thank you.
No, hey, thanks for working with us. Appreciate it. Good luck with your work out there.
Thank you very much.
Thank
All
you.
right. You're welcome. Have a great night, guys.
You too. Thank you.
Item number 2, we have a request for determination of applicability. This is for 57 Cliff Drive in Assonet. The owner is Carolyn DeFrancesco, and the scope of work is an extension of a deck. Do we have the applicant here tonight? 57 Cliff. Oh, okay, pictures. That's right. Yeah, oh, there's the plans, okay. Again, it's on our website. She's got pictures of her existing deck, and then she's got a plan of where she wants to. The present deck is 9 feet by 17. Well, no, I'm sorry, it's 17 by 5, and they want to go 26 by 13. 5 foot out and 10 foot wide. It's I've been on the site to do a walk, and it's an existing backyard that is well, it's an existing backyard. They're not having to do anything other than dig post holes in their backyard. 9 out of 10 times people don't even file for this kind of stuff. They argue that it's exempt, but I think these people are going to err on the side of caution. So Victoria, we don't have the applicant or anybody from her.
No, I
to
don't see
represent here?
anyone.
Okay. So, guys, it's pretty straightforward. Other than I don't see on the plan where they put the siltation control on there. So I'm just I would condition this, or I'd like to see a condition that siltation control be put in place. They can put a silt fence up during construction, so that in case that we do have any heavy rain events or what have you, that won't be an issue. But again, it's a minor activity. So I'll entertain a motion that we issue a negative determination, number 3.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion's been made and supported to issue a negative determination, number 3, that the work is in the buffer zone but will not dredge, alter, or fill a wetland. Okay, if there's no further discussion on the motion, hearing none, roll call vote. Charlie Sullivan.
Aye.
Charlie Sullivan, aye. Keith Mello.
Aye.
Keith Mello, aye. Kevin Damaris, aye. Motion passes unanimous. We'll get those things. Signed and then get sent out. Next on our agenda, we've already done number 3. So on to number 4, we have a request for determination of applicability. This is for 2 County Road in East Freetown. The owner and the applicant is Twin Boys LLC and Gerald Veloso. Scope of work is construction of 2 self-storage buildings. Do we have the applicant's representative here tonight?
Hi, this is Nick Veloso. I am representing Twin Boys LLC.
How you doing, Nick?
I'm doing well, Mr. Chairman. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing fine. So this is the old Freetown screw site. Is that correct?
That is correct. The town remediated the site. I believe it was a few years ago. I don't know the exact date where the town took responsibility, and the site was recently sold back in November to Twin Boys LLC.
Okay, yeah, that was sold at a auction or something, if I'm not mistaken. So
that is correct.
All right. So the work that you're proposing to do now is to construct a building within the 100-foot buffer zone. Is that correct?
We're proposing 2 buildings, but one in the back corner may slightly impede that 100-foot buffer. Again,
okay.
I know Representative has been on site just so we could go over everything. And this was from a plan that we received from the town of Freetown.
Right. So you're utilizing the wetland delineation that the town of Freetown has put out, and that shows that, again, keeping in mind this is a previously cleared lot, right? This is the old Freetown screw. We knocked the building down, we cleared it up, and okay.
Yes, and then the excavators were out there knocking trees down and digging the test holes as well.
Okay, for the town back in the day.
That is correct. Yes.
Okay. All right. So we're going to assume that the wetland delineation that the town is either way. There is a corner of the building. It doesn't seem that much, but unfortunately, because you're going to be doing construction within there, so you need to file with us. I have been on the site. This was a while ago when the town was cleaning it up, so I am familiar with that back part of it. And I would say that I never even got to the part that is closer to a Acushnet. Yeah, I'm in agreement with, the wetlands within their location over there. So, there's one thing, like the previous plan, that we need to, condition it, Nick, so that would be a siltation control on site during construction. So, we put that on the back corner there within the, the buffer zone area, just to protect that from getting down in there.
Understood.
So, you're utilizing the existing grade that's already out there, right? I mean, you're not
Currently,
it's a
as the grade
storage place.
stands, right, and
Yeah.
there's shallow footings as well for the storage. We're not even doing deep footings here.
Oh, okay, all right. So we're not talking about earth moving or anything else. We're just talking about simply the construction of the building. All right,
That's correct.
okay. That being said, does anybody from the board have any questions about this?
Just one question, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Nick, what type of basis for like the parking lots or the area around the buildings? What would they be? Are they going to be pavement or are they going to be something else?
As of right now, we're not going to be putting any pavement down. We'll be doing crushed asphalt.
Okay.
And that we're not, as of right now, we don't plan on covering the entire site with grindings. Just as the car drive around and also parking against the fence closest to a cushionet.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, does anybody else have any other questions? Okay, that being said, then I'll entertain a motion, this again is an RDA, I'll entertain a motion that we issue a negative determination with the condition that, excuse me, siltation control be maintained throughout the project so as to ensure no silt or runoff would get into the wetlands.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second the motion.
Excellent, motion made and supported. If there's no further discussion on the motion, hearing none, all those in favor, again, signify by saying aye. Roll call vote. Charlie Sullivan.
Aye.
Charlie Sullivan, aye. Keith Mello.
Aye.
Keith Mello, aye. Kevin Damaris, aye. Motion passes. All right, Nick, we'll get that signed up over the next couple of days, and we'll try to get that out to you. We'll send it out to you, okay? Or you can come by and pick it up. What do you prefer?
I'll come by and pick it up.
Any chance to come and see us? All right.
I love it down there.
I know. All right, kid. Have a good night. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Have a good night.
Yeah, you too now. All right, we have item number 5. This is a request for determination of applicability. This is for 138 Chipaway Road in East Freetown. The applicant is the owner is Elsa Palafox, and Aiden Ramirez. Oh, I hope I didn't mess that up too bad. Awful with names. Bill Gottwald's the representative, and it's to install a new septic system. Is Bill
Yeah, hi.
Gottwald with us?
Yeah,
Hi.
I'm here. This is Bill Gottwald here. This is similar to the first one you heard tonight. It's just replacing the existing septic system. House, everything was built in 1980, and it's just time to put a new one in. So we're putting a new tank, a new leaching field. And again, because of the well and things like that, it's located where it is. I would say about 20% of the leaching field ends up in the buffer zone. And actually, if I'm not sure if you can all see the plan, but pretty much the entire previous leaching field was in the buffer zone. So we have slid it back a little bit further. And like I say, new 1,500 gallon tank, regular leaching field, no mounding or anything like that. And a silt sock, or if you rather have something else, but I thought in this case silt sock would work fine around it. And that's about it.
Yeah, Bill, typically silt socks, particularly in such a temporary disturbance, right? I mean, it's a week's worth of work, and then you got to wait a few weeks for the grass to grow. And I'm looking at the topography, it doesn't appear to be a very steep grade over there. Yeah, it's very flat. That's another way of saying it's not a very steep. That's why you're an engineer, Bill, and I'm not, right? There you go.
That's not
you know all the
high-tech.
fancy words. It's flat.
Yeah, flat's very high tech, yeah.
So we have an existing 1,000-gallon septic tank to be pumped and crushed. Now, is that's in accordance with the Board of Health regulations, the state regulations to do that?
Yes, yeah, everything's in accordance to the state. That's a standard thing. Pumping and a lot of the tank will be taken out because the new tank will be put pretty much in the same area. As far as
Well, that was kind of my deal. I mean, are we just not going to take the whole tank out, or what we're going to do with it? But and the existing field is going to be abandoned, right? Obviously.
Yeah, if you see the plan, we'll probably we will extend into part of it, and that area will be taken out, but the rest of it will just be left to in place.
All right. Well, hey, a septic upgrade. It's got to be better than what's there, right?
Yeah. Well, like I said, whatever was there worked for 40 years. It's just time for something else, you know.
It's time for the upgrade, right?
It's time for the upgrade. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Anybody from the board have any questions or comments about this?
I'm all set.
I'm good.
All right. Excellent. So if we don't have any, then I will entertain a motion that we issue a negative determination number 3, that it is in a buffer zone, but will not dredge, alter, or fill an area subject to protection of the act.
I'll make that motion.
And I'll second it.
Excellent. Motion's been made and supported. If there's no further discussion on the motion, hearing none, roll call vote. Charlie Sullivan.
Aye.
Charlie Sullivan, aye. Keith Mello.
Aye.
Keith Mello, aye. Kevin DeMaris, aye. Motion passes unanimously. Next on our agenda, we have a request for determination of Oh, excellent, Bill. I'm sorry, Bill. I'm on a roll.
No,
here.
that's fine. That's fine. You're doing great.
Well, thanks, Bill. Hey, you have a good night. We'll get it signed up in the next couple of days, and then we'll send it out to you. All right, Bill?
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Have a great night. Yep. Next on our agenda, item number 6, we have a request for determination of applicability for 13.5 Elm Street. The owner applicant is Catherine Karen, and the scope of work is the removal of 2 dead trees. So do we have somebody here to represent 13.5 Elm Street?
Yes, we do. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you.
Great.
So we've received your RDA, and in reading it, to remove 2 dead trees located next to protected stream. Will not remove stumps, as it will impact waterway. Will be hiring a professional company. Safety, damage to property, damage to telephone wires are your concerns. So that's pretty straightforward. Can't get any more straightforward than that.
Yeah.
Have you hired a company yet?
Not yet, but I did have Beaver Tree come and just give me an estimate.
Okay, and they agree with your assertion that they are dead.
Absolutely.
Okay, and I say that only because we never want to get in the way of somebody for a safety reason, right? I'm glad you filed, but I just wanted to make sure that, and typically we just ask that if you've hired an arborist, that you just confirm that with them. So,
all right.
And so we're going to, those trees are your driveway is on the same side of the stream or brook as those trees.
Correct.
Correct. Right. So what my point was, in order to access these trees, you do not need to cross the stream.
Right.
Right. Well, you're going to leave the stumps in, so there's no stumping and grinding, right? So you're not going to be disturbing the land. You're simply going to be cutting these trees down, which is why you don't need siltation control for stuff like this. This is an in and out. They'll be gone in a day. So pretty straightforward. I can't ask for anything more straightforward than this. Anybody on the board have any questions?
I'm fine.
I do not.
Excellent. So I'll entertain a motion that we issue a negative determination that it is in a buffer zone, but will not dredge, alter, or fill an area subject to protection of the act.
I'll make that motion. Oh,
perfect.
Sorry.
No, that's great. Perfect.
Yeah, I'll second the motion.
Excellent. If there's no further discussion on the motion, hearing none, roll call vote. Charlie Sullivan.
Aye.
Charlie Sullivan, aye. Keith Mello.
Aye.
Keith Mello, aye. Kevin DeMaris, aye. Motion passes unanimous. So, Catherine, we'll get that signed up to you, and then we'll have it mailed out, and you should have it within the week.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. If you have any other questions, feel free to contact our office.
All right, will do. Thanks.
All right, have a great night.
You too.
All right, bye.
Bye.
All right. Next on our agenda, we have item number 7, we've continued. 9 and 10, we've continued. So item number 8, we have a continued notice of intent. This is for 41 Water Street in Assonet. The applicant is Francis Grisot, SNR Flint Realty Trust. The representative is Rami Sidani, and I think John also of North Country Group, and construction of a single-family home with garage and a barn. So I will call this is a public hearing, so I will call it back to order. Do we have the applicant's representative here?
I'm here. John D'Souza.
Hi, John. Okay, just for the record too, we had received a letter of concern from an abutter. Everybody was sent that via email. We will make it part of the file and part of the record. And I will paraphrase rather than reading it because everybody has it. But basically, and John, this is important, and Victoria, we can send that letter out to John just so they know. There's an area of the property, while it may be yours, there's where the outfall to that stream is, John. You know what I'm talking about? Where the machinery had used access to get in and knock down those trees and all that other stuff, right?
Yeah.
Okay. There's a concern about continued traffic on that, and we're being asked to not permit you to use that access and egress. That may, in fact, be a little bit out of our jurisdiction, but I would say this, that, and we talked about this on the phone call that I had with you last week. The response to the enforcement order, was part of that was to remediate what you've done over there. You know, the work that is outside of the permit that you were granted years ago. So I know you're not here to speak about the enforcement order, but I think part of that enforcement order needs to be, and again, I think you're clear on this, but I just want to make sure the abutter, if they're with us, understand. Part of your remediation work is to remedy that situation over there. Now, there is a pile of debris and some other stuff that's over there. It should be removed. I appreciate the fact that typically any work that's done within the buffer zone, you require a filing, and you've already, unfortunately, your clients run afoul already of us. So maybe there's a hesitancy not to do anything else until you get a sign off. But I think in general, John, that if you're going to go over there and somebody's going to go and start to try to remedy that, in a way that's not going to, make it worse, if we can get some of that material and debris out of there, that would be helpful, I think, in the immediacy until we can act on that notice of intent for the enforcement order. There is some question about, the stability of the wall and the culvert over there relative to machinery going back and forth. I'm not a structural engineer, but I would say that we probably don't want to be bringing machinery across there if it's going to cause, any kind of issue to the current infrastructure that's over there. So that's the crux of the letter and that was sent to us. This is not a public hearing for the enforcement order, but since everybody's here, I might as well let everybody know. So John, last we spoke, you were going back and forth with peer review. We have Adam from Environmental Partners Group here tonight.
Yes, this is Adam with Environmental Partners.
Excellent, Adam. Thank you for joining us. So Adam is basically the town's engineer. So last week we spoke, John, and you were getting a revised set of plans up to Adam, and then Adam was going to try to get them reviewed. Where do we stand with all that?
So the revised plans went out this morning to Adam and also to the commission. And basically, Can I share my screen?
Yeah, so Victoria, why don't you let him share his screen? And so for those folks, those interested parties, because I know we do have some, I think it's important to note that the applicant, I think in response to some concerns of the board and abutters, has changed the some of the plans. So I think it's important that we look at those. And those are listed as additional revised plans, if I'm not mistaken, Victoria.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, it's the last thing in that on that list of PDF files. Holy smokes. Hey, John.
Yeah.
Can I just make a comment? I know you love it when I do that, but wow, there's an awful lot of boxes on this plan. You see what I'm saying? I mean,
An awful lot of the boxes.
Boxes. You've got a lot of squares and rectangles on this plan, and I don't understand what any of them are for. Are they just to outline a comment, or?
No, it might be the program you're using to view it on. I know sometimes if you're not using Acrobat, it puts boxes around things.
Okay, well, I'll accept that, because you're talking above my pay grade right now with what I'm using. All I did was go to the website and press the button. So it may be that we have to look into that on our end about how we are able to disseminate this information. But so
I have it up on the screen.
That's fine.
Right I don't know if you can view the screen.
No, that's okay. I can read through it. I'm not worried about that. I can follow it. So I think what we'll do tonight is you can, present the changes that you've made to the plan, and then we can go from there.
All right. So the biggest change that we had to these plans is we used to have the proposed garage/barn on the northeast portion, more or less where the pointer is. And we actually took that and we moved it to the northwest corner of the property. So we flipped it over to the other side. So most of the area now is outside of the 100-foot in the riparian zone. And also that will alleviate the issue with the neighbor, and that will basically remain grass after the project is completed. Also, there is a big tree basically where the garage barn was going. So that should save the tree that's out there as well. In regard to the enforcement action and order, on the restoration plan that we just filed with you, if I can do a sneak peek, I can kind of show you basically what we're doing, but that whole area is going to get cut off so it can get reseeded. So they're not going to be utilizing that for any entrances at all. And that we're actually going to be going out there this week. So the contractor is going to start repairing some of the issues that he created out there this coming up week.
Okay. I think it would be helpful, right, Victoria? Let's make sure that the abutter gets access to this, not only the revised plans for the initial notice of intent filing, but whatever, and I know you'll put it on the website, but let's just make sure that the abutter gets the new filing for the notice of intent. Now, we're aiming to get that on for the May 10th. Do we have enough time, Victoria, to advertise and notify abutters, or is this going to have to be the following meeting?
But we have enough time.
Okay. So, again, for interested parties and the abutters, the notice of intent in response to our enforcement action relative to them knocking down the trees and doing some work outside of the original permit, we will be having that notice of intent public hearing on May 10th. 5 o'clock via Zoom. I don't promise where it's on the agenda, but you guys can look into that and see. So, okay. So again, John, to reiterate, it seems that you've diminished some work in one area, you've moved some work to an opposite side, and you've come up with some solution to that access problem nearest to the culvert, meaning you're going to have it all grassed and, revegetated in some manner, right?
Yes.
Okay. Adam, have you had an opportunity to, I know this is a difficult site. I know that there are a lot of issues with it. Or I shouldn't say that, right? It's difficult because it's near the water and the wetlands. It's difficult because there's special rules and regulations because of that, right? I know part of our conversation, and this has gone on from the first meeting, was, does this require a Chapter 91's waterway permit? And there's a healthy discussion, again, at a higher level than me, and between our review engineer and the applicant's engineer, and what we've determined in that conversation that we had was, we're going to reach out to the Army Corps and get a response. That doesn't mean that we can't move on with the project. It just means that the work can't get done until Army Corps signs off on it. So oftentimes, should an applicant be successful in getting a permit and other agencies have to sign off on things or issue their own permits, we typically would condition it upon successful completion of a permit application or the different iterations. But I guess at the end of that, it's a long-winded way of saying we have not got a definitive answer on whether it actually needs a Chapter 91. Our side feels, and our review engineers feel it does. You're of the opinion it doesn't. The good news is we don't have the authority to make that decision, so we can't make it for you. So the people that get paid a lot of money at the federal government will have to make that decision.
Right, and also just to kind of piggyback on that as well, Kevin, is we're actually preparing the applications to see whether or not we need to file those. So those are going to get filed, and whatever the outcome is, we'll get the outcome back to the Conservation Commission as to if we need to apply it, we'll apply for the licenses and permits, and if not, we won't. But either way, we've started the process on that end of it, and we'll keep you guys aware of what's required and what's not, and we'll let you know the communications on that as well.
Perfect, excellent. Adam, you've had an opportunity to look at the revised plans?
I had a chance to take a quick look at it and also skim through their response letter.
Okay, and so we're still at that point where this is undergoing peer review, right? Because now that there's changes been made, obviously you have to review those changes, right?
Yes, I mean, I wouldn't say this is quite as technical in terms of like, we don't have to dive into a stormwater report or something. So,
no.
I mean, if you want to talk through the items now, I'm happy to do that if you want to.
Well, I just want to, in fairness to everybody, right, and not to get too much into it, but unfortunately, Victoria couldn't go to work today. So we did not receive this information until probably 4:30, 4:45. So this is all relatively new to us, which means it's new to the applicant. I'm sorry, to the abutters too. So if there are bullet point items that you would like to talk about and say, yeah, those have been rectified and we're good to go with that, I guess to a certain degree, I'm all right with that. But in fairness, this is my first time actually seeing this because we didn't get it sent to us until, and I appreciate it, John, right? You get it to us at 10 o'clock this morning. Unfortunately, I only have a clerk that works 12:30 to 4. And, and unfortunately today she couldn't come to work. Although she's a trooper, I brought her the stuff to her and she's doing it from home. So this meeting, so.
Don't you know the first rule? You never let an employee take Monday off.
No, I didn't let her take it off. Believe me. Like I said, she's a trooper. She begged me to bring her the stuff for tonight's meeting so that she could run it from home because she was concerned we had a lot of stuff on the agenda and she didn't want to disappoint a lot of people. So I got to give credit where credit is due. So we might keep her around for another week or two.
Okay.
Thanks, Kevin.
Yeah, you're welcome. So, Adam, if there's any highlights that you would like to hit upon, I don't anticipate that the Conservation Commission, I'm not comfortable voting on this quite yet tonight. Obviously, this has gotten some interest from abutters, and I think in fairness to everybody, we should at least let those folks take a look at the revised plan, see the things that they like, maybe have some questions or concern about, and give them an an opportunity to address those before our next meeting. So go ahead, Adam.
Sure. So it looks like, as the applicant mentioned, they moved the building to the other side. It is awfully close to that other property line, but from a conservation point of view, it is further from the riverfront area than it was before. So that was basically addressing one of the items we'd had. In terms of planting plan, the applicant has stated that they'll put that on the next NOI. I guess they wanted to just get this plan out now. So I don't know if you need that resolved as part of this one or as part of the next one.
Well, I'd like to see, I think we can kill two birds with one stone. It might be, John, that if you've got a planting schedule and such that if it's more robust than what you've offered on this rendition, you may want to supplement this plan with that, an overlay of that. That's fine. I know just, and again, not having seen the most recent notice of intent filing, that there were some trees and there were some damage to some wetland, I'm not going to call them wetland species because they were an upland, but they're within the buffer zone over there to that culvert area. And so I don't know if you're proposing any kind of bushes or shrubs or any kind of trees to replace or mitigate, what was done over there. So if you are, go ahead.
We're actually proposing quite a few trees to get replanted, more than what was removed into that area. And then we also have the loam seed, the jute mesh with the hemo. And then there's an area up near a low point that some previous debris got washed out and over. We propose to clean that out as well.
Okay. I think it would be helpful. So I think that would be helpful if it's shown on the other NOI plan. That's great, right?
Yeah.
And so again, Victoria, let's just make sure that we get that plan either put on the website as soon as we can, and let's make sure that we get that sent out to our the abutters that have been contacting us. Okay.
I'll do that tomorrow.
Thank you. Is there anything else you want to touch upon, Adam?
The last thing just was wall construction. Over the review letters, we'd gone back and forth about whether it was possible to do this wall construction completely in the dry or whether there'd be some impact to the river. By looking into the Army Corps requirements and things like that, they typically recommend things like turbidity curtains be used in the water to help with any sediment or erosion control that might occur from doing the wall work, and that would seem to be a wise move here and would address any concerns that we would have if they were to do that. The applicant was sort of non-committal in the latest response about putting in a turbidity curtain.
Yeah, on our response for that, we had put in that if it's required under the Army Corps, then we'll propose it.
Yeah, and I think what Adam is saying, that we would be within our purview, and I don't think you'll argue with this, John, that if we wanted to at least make it a condition, in the event that you have to do work and it requires that we would either have one on site or that no work be done without one. So we're not quite there yet. We haven't got to that point yet, but so just keep in mind, and we have required that on a lot of wall reconstruction, where I don't care if it's Long Pond, Sona Bay Shores, or within the river, wherever we've required it when necessary. We've also not required it. There was a wall repair right down the street from you that was totally done from land, just placing stones on an existing. They never once got into the water. It was fine. But they would have been required to had they been caused to do work within that. So it might be just this, you know, you may get a general, if you're successful in getting a permit, excuse me, it may be a general requirement or condition that should a condition arise that you don't do any work to until you have a turbidity. What's it called? A turbidity what now?
Curtain.
Curtain. Geez, Louise, I was saying screen, sheet, the whole 9 yards. Curtain, yes. And for those folks on the Conservation Commission, that's basically a curtain. It's suspended, it floats, and it's suspended from the floats from the top. And the idea is if there's any turbid water, it stays within that area, and it would naturally precipitate out, if you will, any kind of sediment. And now we're not talking about sludge going in there. We're talking about, you know, some minor sediment. It's not meant to control like that. So, all right, Adam.
That was it.
All right, perfect. So, John, I think you've heard a couple of the items that we'll probably want, you know, looked at and addressed, or through a narrative or whatever. I think we're close, right? You need to answer EPG's comments, and then we can go from there. So I will open it up now. If there's anybody here from the general public, this is a public hearing. So if you would like to just politely get our attention, excuse me, raise your hand, something, state your name, and you can ask your question. Huh. Nobody here. Or nobody wants to talk. Okay. All right. Does anybody from the board have anything on this?
I'm good right now.
Hello? Hello?
Hello? Hello?
Hi. Yes.
Hi.
Can you hear me now?
I can.
This is Lori Riley. I'm the abutter at 39 Water Street in Asona.
Hi, Lori.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. I just had a couple questions that
Yep.
I'm noticing here. One of my other concerns was the wall area, and I see that it's still starting in the same location on this new plan. And also, where is the septic being located? And is the driveway, it's hard to read, of course, on a screen, but is the driveway area laid out on this new plan?
Yes, the driveway is basically in the middle of the lot. So
Oh,
the
just going
driveway is in the
straight.
middle of the lot. The septic system is gonna go up in the northwest quadrant away from your house.
Is it located on the plan?
It is not yet on this plan because we haven't gone to the Board of Health. But we do have an area that we have looked at to install it on.
John, is that dark black box up there next to the proposed barn or garage? Is that the septic area?
No, that's the old shed that's out there. But the
yeah. Okay.
our septic system is gonna go right between the garage and the shed, right there up in that front area.
And it'll have to meet all the Board of Health regulations and requirements.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, it should be located on the plan, correct?
They'll eventually have to get a plan that puts it. It doesn't necessarily have to be on this plan. No.
No.
What it means is, go ahead.
Conservation at all?
No, that's
They're not
not
worried
what I'm
about
saying.
that?
No, that's not what. No, that's not what I'm saying. You asked, does it have to be on this plan? I said no. It does not have to be on this plan. When they go to do the septic system, if it's not work that's been already approved, they will need to file another filing.
another filing with conservation?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Why wouldn't they want to just file it all now?
Here's the good, Lori, I have no idea, Lori, why they wouldn't do that. It's not my choice. I mean, if it were me, I'd probably have paraded all at the same time, but they are not obligated to do it, and I can't force them to do it. They might not want to spend the money on a septic design if they can't get an approval to do this. Or if they can't get an approval to do this, they may have to redesign the septic system, so it might have been wasted money. I don't know.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so it doesn't have to be on this. It doesn't have to be on this plan.
Right. And also my client had to clean up a lot of the lot that was out there, so we couldn't even we didn't have room for doing a perk test either when we started all this.
Right, but to answer Laurie's question, yes, Laurie, septic systems located within buffer zones or that kind of deal, yes, they are a concern of the Conservation Commission. They would need a permit.
I got you.
But your question specific was, don't they have to show it on this? No, they don't have to. But yes, they will be coming back before us. The septic.
I got you.
All right. And John, she had another question relative to the start of rebuilding of revetment wall. I think that was what it was, right, Laurie?
Yes.
Yeah. So, John, if you could.
So where we're proposing to start the wall is about from where the small little head wall is that's out there right now. The wall comes down, and actually the previous wall is in a pretty good shape right in through that area. And then about 30 feet going down is where it starts to break. And that's where we started the rebuilding of the wall. So we're not bringing the rebuilt wall all the way back up to the corner, because that wall is actually in very good and stable condition.
But on the plan, it says the start of rebuilding is further, way far down.
It's 30 feet from the head wall.
30 feet from what?
The head wall. Where the pipe is that stream by your house, Laurie, where this stream drops out.
Right.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
all that wall area is all in good condition, and that's all part of the riparian way. That's in the riparian way.
Which is why they're filing with us.
And yes, but now that wall though, that particular wall that is standing there right now is our property.
Well, now.
So in other words, I don't agree to knocking down that wall, our existing wall, which is there, which is the riparian way.
Okay. So is it that you have, do you have, and here's the problem, Laurie, right? We're commingling issues. Conservation has nothing to do with property lines. We don't discern property lines. That's got nothing to do with us. That's a civil matter that you have to take up with whoever you think is encroaching on your property. We only deal with, hey, I want to do work within the buffer zone or wetlands, whatever. How can I get a permit? And the work I'm doing, can I do it in a way that's safe to the environment and has little to no impact on the environment? And that's what our job is to make sure that gets done. It's not to determine whether somebody wants to spend the money on a perfectly good wall and replace it with another wall. It's of no consequence to us. And I know it sounds crass, but it's that rigid what we have. It's the Wetlands Protection Act. If you read it, it's just everything talks about work, not what the work is. And so, again, if there's a property line dispute, then, I think you pointed out you had your property surveyed. And so it should be pretty straightforward where your property begins and ends, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if there is an encroachment within your property, that could be a problem, right? So we need to clarify that, excuse me. And however we do that, whatever legal means you need. And then after that, I think it would be helpful, John. I'm just wondering if you could go out there and maybe show the point where you are going to start the wall repair so that everybody is on the same page. And to Laurie's point, it is sometimes difficult looking at just a plan set on a computer screen, right? It's you know, not even realizing, you know, what scale this is.
Very true.
Right. So it makes it difficult, right?
Absolutely.
So, right. And it's just a system, unfortunately, that we're dealing with right now. So I think it would be helpful, John, if somebody could go out there and, you know, maybe put a stake, tie a ribbon or something to say, hey, this is the part of the wall that we're going to start our repair from. So everybody is on the same page. And again, Laurie, keeping in mind that it may be very well might be a perfectly good wall. We don't get to say yes or no because they want to take a perfectly good wall down and replace it with another perfectly good wall. We just have to make sure the way they're going about it isn't going to be injurious to the wetlands, right? And cause havoc that way. So we're very limited on Conservation Commission to a certain degree on what we have say over. And I can tell you property lines are not one of them. But if you've had it surveyed, it should be pretty straightforward. You'll have your survey marks out there. If they're proposing to do work on, if they're proposing to do work on your property or what you perceive as your property, then, you know, there's other ways that you can remedy that. And you have legal remedies, right? Everybody knows this. You have the ability to appeal decisions. There's always civil court and that kind of stuff. So hopefully that them marking where it is, Laurie, might give you at least a little better spatial understanding along with myself if I go out there and look at to see exactly where they're talking about.
Yeah, if he would, we would love to meet with him if that's the case.
Well, I can't force him to do that. What I can ask him to do is very nicely is say, hey, let's respond to the concerns of the abutters, right? There's already a property line dispute. Let's go out there and show them where you plan on starting and doing your work. And if you guys happen to meet with the, then that you know, I can't make that happen. But I think, John, it would be helpful, you know. And Laurie, let's be fair too, right? I think in response to some of your concerns, they've done some changing of things to hopefully try to accommodate you, and at the same time being less intrusive to the buffer zones or the riparian areas. So I think we appreciate that from our end, but it's still, you have legitimate concerns, I think, that need to be addressed. How much of them have much weight within the Wetlands Protection Act? But they're legitimate concerns nonetheless. So, John, let's see if we can't get somebody to go out there and kind of like tie a ribbon or something to say, hey, this is where we're going to start the repair, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, I mean, if she wants to meet, I can meet her out there and we can run through out whatever she would like. All
right. So what I'll do is, so we're not playing, you know, in between here. Victoria, if you could, we have Laurie. Would you mind if we sent John your email address so that he could contact you on this?
That's great.
Okay. What I'm going to do is, Victoria, if you'd be so kind as to forward Laurie's email to John, and then John, if you could, you know, maybe reach out to Laurie and see if some of these questions can't be answered. I think, John, at the end of the day, I think you kind of heard what I was saying earlier, but a property line dispute, those things don't go away. So that should be probably knocked out. Let's get that squared away, and then we go from there.
Yeah, I mean, it's the first I've heard of the property line dispute, but that's okay.
No, and in fairness, I think it was brought up very early on in the public hearing process. There was a question about it. There wasn't a statement that, hey, you're on your property. And I think there still is just a question, you know, where we're going to do this. So I think that would be helpful at the end of the day. I mean, and if it's not clear on a plan or clear on anything, you can bet your bottom dollar that the building department is going to ask for it just so they can make sure that you're meeting setbacks and everything else. So I'll just leave it at that. We will send John's email to Laurie, Laurie's email to John, And
Okay.
we'll let them try to get together on that and see if they can't maybe fix or figure some things out outside of the meeting to help this process.
That would be great.
All right, cool beans. Anything else? Anybody else? All right. I'm hoping that we can have peer review done and dusted. And John, if there's anything outstanding that you get sent by EPG, if you can get that response or whatever it is back to them, so that by our next meeting, if everything's squared away, we could move forward either way with this, and we can tackle that. We can tackle that enforcement order at the same time.
On EPG's comments, I believe our response had stated what I just said, that if it's required, we'll show it. And I mean, you can even put it as a condition as well on your end. I mean, either way, it really doesn't matter. If it's required by either state or feds, we'll add it in. And
yeah,
I mean, it is what it is. We don't anticipate any work within the water, but you never know.
Well, right. And that's our job, is to listen. Nobody anticipates having runoff going into the wetlands, but that's why we exist, so we can prevent that. So at the end of the day, that's all we're looking to do, John, right? Inherently developing on or near wetlands, it's a difficult, we've got, one member of the Concom lives on the pond. He understands that it's difficult to do development. Charlie Sullivan just had a septic system tonight. He is near a wetland. He understands it. So, and in this instance, it's a riverfront area, or it's tidal. There could be subject to stormwater flowage. There are just a number of issues that need to be addressed. I'm not saying you haven't done it, but at the end of the day, again, in fairness to everybody, we just received all this information 4:45. And so I think it's going to be good for us to get it, digest it, and I think we'll be ready to move forward at our next meeting. Fair enough to everybody? Well, I'm going to take that as it's fair enough for everybody. All right. If there's nothing else, then I'll entertain a motion to continue the public hearing to May 10th for this 41 Water Street to May 10th at 5 o'clock via Zoom.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Thank you very much. Motion's made and supported. If there's no further discussion on the motion, roll call vote. Charlie Sullivan.
Aye.
Charlie Sullivan, aye. Keith Mello.
Aye.
Keith Mello, aye. Kevin Damaris says aye. Motion passes unanimous. We'll see everybody on the 10th for that one. Okay. Response from old business, response enforcement order. We can reach back out to 218 Middleborough Road, but I thought I spoke to them last week, and I thought that they were going to try and have that NOI in for our May 10th meeting. So maybe, Victoria, we can follow up with them tomorrow. Right now, we're still trying to figure out the in-person meetings. We're trying to figure out a way that we can do it and I know I'm just repeating myself, but we still haven't come up with a solution. So right now, in the interim, we're going to do that until we can confirm and or buy the equipment or whatever it is, get a hold of the equipment that we would need to go to kind of a shared in-person but remote participation from the new police station. Okay, the minutes were sent out, right, Victoria?
Sorry, what was that?
The minutes were sent out?
No, I have not done the minute.
Okay. That's what I was asking, because I did not get them. I was going to give you a hard time for not sending to me. If we can make sure that we have those for the next meeting.
Yes, I will do that.
Perfect. Do we have any other business to properly come before the commission? Oh, yes. That's right. I think we talked about it briefly at our last meeting. There's an article for a town meeting warrant to remove the selectmen as the soil board, the soil removal, otherwise known as a gravel permit, right? People want to have a gravel operation, they have to go and get a. Currently, it is made up of the 3 selectmen, a member of planning board and a member of Concom. I am currently the chairperson as a representative from Concom. The selectmen have expressed a desire to no longer serve in that function. So there's an article that has been put forth to make the Conservation Commission actually the soil board. It's more in tune with what we do, you know, mostly it's about runoff, mostly it's about, you know, work around wetlands. Charlie can speak to this a little bit. He was 3 years on the soil board with me as a selectman. It's not a lot of heavy lifting. We typically meet once a year in the fall. It requires a Sunday morning. We go around, look at I think we only have 5 gravel permits, of which I think there's only 2 that are actually active gravel operations. We go, we take a look at them, and typically we have a meeting. It takes less than 15 minutes usually. Actually, it can be a lot faster than that if there's no outstanding issues. So before I move forward with this and we leave it on the warrant, I'd just like to get the temperature of the board. I know that Chris Mather said whatever we decide. I don't think he had an opinion either way. He would gladly do it, or if it didn't happen, it's okay. Charlie, I don't want to speak for you, but what's your opinion on that?
I have no issues with it.
All right, so you wouldn't have a problem if it was the Conservation Commission?
Not at all.
All right, all right. Keith?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know fully what is the soil.
So it's a lot. I will tell you this, Keith. I will tell you this. It's a heck of a lot easier, the rules and regulations, than they are of the Conservation Commission. It's very straightforward, and I can get with you on that. It's a very straightforward deal.
Okay, that's fine.
All right.
I want to be able to add something to things. I'm trying with the conservation, but I don't want to be left. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to know nothing.
No. That's a very good point, Keith. It's a very good point. And I think honestly, with the soil board, a lot of it's common sense. You know, a lot of it's just, and it's prescribed in the permit itself. You know, okay, the entrance has to have X amount of feet of demudding, rocks and stone, and your slopes can only be so much, and you can only go X amount to the groundwater level, and it really is. It's a lot easier and simpler.
Well, I trust what you and Charlie think. If you think it's not I'm on board. No worries.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So I will, and Victoria will follow up with the selectmen if need be, but we will leave that on for consideration at the annual town meeting in June. Now, soil board is a local creation here in town. So I don't know necessarily I don't think it even has to go to the state legislature. I think we did it. I'll check again on that. So it may not be that it even happens right away. There may be a whole cycle of permitting. So this might not even happen until next year, depending on the process. But
right.
All right.
What it's worth, I believe it's in the town bylaws, as you said. So I don't think we would have to go to the legislature or anything like that.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you on that, Charlie. So like I said, it may be just as simple as there you go. And
what's the pay raise?
It's twice as much what you're getting paid for Conservation Commission.
That's awesome. Perfect.
Isn't it right?
Yeah.
It's right.
It was just a joke, you know that.
Goodwill.
No, I do. I believe me, I do know. It's a joke what we get paid.
No,
Hey, I'll tell
helping
you
out the town.
I'll tell you this brief story, right? So 20 years ago, when I first got on Conservation Commission, I went for training up in Easton, Massachusetts, and we're talking, and they're asking, and there's all kinds of board members. It's conservation training, and from all towns, and they said, all right, who here gets paid? And Jesus, if 3/4 of them to 90% of them didn't raise their hand, and of course there's Freetown and maybe one other town looking at each other like, what the hell? And the town of Easton at the time was getting paid $6,000 a piece.
Wow.
This is 20 years ago. They were getting paid $6,000 a piece. I can only imagine what they get now. They can retire on what they're getting paid now to be on the Concom. I don't.
Yes.
Holy shit! So that we are definitely going to heaven because all the volunteering that we do. So if there's nothing else that anybody wants to add or any other questions, I will accept the motion to adjourn.
I'll make it.
I'll second it.
Excellent. Motion's being supported. If there's no further discussion, hearing none, roll call vote. Charlie Sullivan.
Aye.
Charlie Sullivan, aye. Keith Mello.
Aye.
Keith Mello. Kevin Damaris. Keith Mello says aye. Kevin Damaris states aye. Motion carries unanimously. Meeting is adjourned.
Hey,
Charlie,
sorry for being
have a
late
safe-
too today. I
No,
apologize
listen, you were a
about that.
couple minutes late. Don't worry about that. I'm going to be a couple minutes late, I'm sure, at some point in time. Don't worry about that. So, Charlie, safe travels, my friend.
Thank you. Just so you know, on the 10th, I will be in Pennsylvania, but by the miraculous abilities of Zoom, I could attend.
Okay, so what we'll do, Charlie,
You
is
don't drag it out, Kevin. All right. Expert.
we had a 12. There was 12 things on our agenda tonight. It didn't even go an hour and a half.
I know it. Geez, it didn't even go an hour and a half. No. You don't have to get up early
All right.
in the morning and drive home. You know.
All right. So I will tell you this, Charlie. If it's a situation where we need you, we will text you or call you and say, "Hey, Charlie, we need you tonight." If not, then you're more than free to go to bed at 5:30 and
Yeah.
you know,
Get up at 7.
rest up for your
You know
travel.
why.
So.
Victoria.
All right, guys, have a great night. Be safe,
All right.
everybody.
See you later. Bye.
Have a good
Yeah,
night.
yeah. Bye-bye now. Yeah, bye.